Hello, and welcome to the preview. Good news for Week 10. The four best teams in football, including the outstanding Bengals, the wonderful Browns, the magnificent Rams, and the truly exceptional Philadelphia Eagles. They're all back playing this week, so of course it's an exciting week. Fooey, Thursday Night Football currently scheduled to be your big fella, Philip Rivers, who you absolutely idolise. I think he's the best ever in the history of the game, against Ryan Tannehill, who I believe you said was moderately mediocre a few weeks ago. Who wins this one?
Moderately mediocre.
I will say I think Colts have a few injuries after last week, especially on defense. So I think
and Philip Rivers' ego as well. Yes.
Yes, that is also true. I thought that was a given, so I didn't need to say it. Tennessee in a bit of a canter, I think.
Blackie, eighth best division in football. Danny Dimes, Carson Wentz. Will you be watching it live?
Absolutely.
Note that it's at 3 in the morning Perth time. But anyway.
Yeah, lovely. I think that'd be great.
Who throws for more interceptions and who wins the game?
Oh, do the Eagles have anyone on defense who can catch? I don't think it's likely. No, I think I'm going to back in Wentz to throw more interceptions, but Eagles win.
Brasher, will Deshaun Watson get another extra 3 seconds after the play clock expires when he's playing against Baker Mayfield? Or does Baker Mayfield kind of inspire the referees to actually enforce the rules properly?
I think the Browns will win this pretty comfortably. In the end, I think the Texans are definitely looking towards 2021 now.
So who's going to replace OBJ? Serious question. Do the Browns have enough offensive weapons?
I think they do.
Nick Chubb's not back yet, is he?
He's borderline. He might play. We're sort of hoping, the Giblets hoping he sits out a week. But as we said, when OBJ went down and Mayfield actually looked pretty good and their offense looked more balanced, it's a situation, as we said last week, I'll maintain it now, that Mayfield may be more comfortable as a quarterback without having such a big personality that commands the playbook go his way.
A little bit more forgiving of making mistakes as opposed to OBJ.
Or just getting the ball thrown that he be the centerpiece of the offense. Yeah. So I think the Browns will win that.
And in terms of the balance between the games, I only ask because I'm still confused by the Browns' defensive identity. 1 week, Myles Garrett looks spectacular and they look like a really aggressive defense, and the next week they seem like a Baker Mayfield has to play well for us to win games. What's the balance? I mean, is it going to be another 80-point game between the two teams, or are we going to finally see some defense played?
I don't think the Texans have 40 points in them if it's going to be a shootout. So I think if you were going to get to 80 points, mate, you would have to think the Browns would score 60 of them. Right? So I can't see a shootout of that. I can see something along the lines of 33-14, something like that. As more
unless the Texans get some defensive points, it's hard to see where they're going to get that score from. Yeah,
and you don't know whether JJ Watt is going to put himself in cotton wool or still play like he normally plays hard for the rest of the season as well.
Yeah, he's got his 100th sack. He's the NFL all-time leader in quarterback hits. He's openly being talked about it. I think ownership, Cal McNair or whoever it is, came out in the middle of the week and said that they'd consider trading him. As you say, that's cotton wool stage, isn't it?
Well, they have to, and this is the Hopkins trade that keeps giving, doesn't it?
Oh,
yeah.
And again, if you're the general manager or you're the coach candidate, how the hell do you even consider? I mean, it's why I reckon Romeo is going to be coaching that team for the next 2 years. How the hell do you come into that team if all you've got is Deshaun?
You got to be told, like what we do with our sales reps at work. We have this thing called honeymoon period, where that we guarantee their first 2 quarters of commissions. You would have to, for any incoming coach, regardless of record, short of the players revolting, you got to be guaranteed those first 2 years, regardless of the record. If you want to get anyone of any quality, you're going to have to say to them, we will front load your contract and guarantee the first 2 years, because we know that we're going to go. We haven't not yet hit rock bottom yet.
It's like the special deal they got to do when Fooey gets asked to manage the store next to the KFC.
It wouldn't be. I wouldn't be on. If I was ownership in there, I wouldn't be. Frankly, I'd be. If my record, I don't know, Blackie. How bad are they at the moment? Like, what's their record now?
Oh, he put me on the spot. How am I supposed to know?
2 and 6.
Because it was a segue to another question to you, which was if they're 2 and 6 and finish bottom 8.
Yep.
Because, like I said, mate, I have been doing my quarterback scouting. I'd be more prepared to get rid of Deshaun Watson if I had a shitty record and start again with a new quarterback. But hang on, they don't have a top. Do they have a first round pick this year?
No.
Traded away.
They gave it to the Miami Dolphins.
Well, they may have to trade a Watson or something like that. Or
who else do they have? Will Fuller?
Well, Will Fuller can't hold the ball most of the time. He only shows up every third game.
Exactly, that's my point. They ain't got nobody else. They got JJ Watt, who's aging, and to be frank, isn't worth 1 first round pick, let alone 2. And you got Deshaun. And if this
I
is
would
where
trade
it
them
gets,
both. I would trade them both.
And if you're the GM, if you get a 7-year contract, maybe you're okay with that as long as you get to say who they get traded for and how many picks. But if you're on a 3-year contract and you've lost Deshaun Watson and you've lost JJ Watt and they've given you, let's say we've traded them to the Patriots for future picks, the Patriots could very well be up in the Super Bowl in 2 years. So your future first round pick is like pick number 31 or something,
Yeah, they would want
disaster.
to. Yeah, they would need to get at least low teens at worst for Watson. Right, so you'd want to be on the cusp of a team not just going to the draft and getting their quarterback. You'd want somebody who is Super Bowl ready all the way across their roster except the quarterback.
Patriots.
Yeah, the Patriots are the ones, they got the salary cap space to extend Watson. They got picks. They've got arguably the coach. They've got arguably the talent elsewhere. It makes a difference.
Unless
you can see that.
Belichick falls in love with one of the college kids.
Oh,
Which he
God,
could
yeah.
do.
Yeah.
And how much flexibility would it give them?
Absolutely, they can go
Scary.
and our secret source formula that's emerging. Have another rookie, have another quarterback on his rookie contract, allowing you to load up elsewhere.
Yeah.
Speaking of rookies that allow you to load up elsewhere, Fooey, I know you'll be hanging out to watch Big Fat Ben come up against your boy Joe Burrow. So I'm not going to ask you about this game. I'm going to ask Blackie. Joe Burrow, Blackie, he going to get the Bengals over the line? Does he inflict much to American Crow's ecstatic delight? Does he inflict Big Ben's first loss for the year? Or do we see the Steelers' multifaceted offense scrape out another come-from-behind win?
I shudder to think what the Steelers are going to do to that O-line.
Yeah.
Well,
I think they'll
that's not a
demolish
bad
them.
question, Blackie, actually. How much of that, because I talked before about how it was a 15-point last quarter comeback by the Steelers that got them their eighth consecutive win of the year. The defense didn't seem to get much credit, but the point is you only come back 15 points if your defense isn't giving up points. What's stronger, the wide receivers for the Steelers?
I think it's the defense. Deontay Johnson is great for a late round pick. Juju Smith-Schuster is probably not going to get re-signed. Chase Claypool's a rookie, but Stephon Tuitt, Bud Dupree, these guys are very, very good players. Cam Hayward, they're superstars. Even with Devin Bush going down, what do they do? Trade for Avery Williamson. He's a pretty good stopgap. I think their front seven's very dangerous.
Watts, the whole lot. They do have a good defensive front.
I talked before about Roethlisberger evolving, but for me, the thing that's really evolved is their defense, and this will drive American Crow nuts. I'm going to say it explicitly. I think they've got one of the 2 best defenses in the NFL, and I think they've got an awesome defensive coaching staff. And it isn't Mike Tomlin; he gets far too much credit. I think the Steelers' defensive coaching staff is the core to their success over the last 14 years, and especially this year, they're actually what's driving it. If I had to pick it, I would say that they're gonna be the driving force behind the Steelers' success. Fooey, I know you'll be absolutely drooling all over this game for the early Sunday slot. Brady versus Bridgewater. Does Tommy Boy score more than 3 points?
Well, it's not the New Orleans defense, so probably.
Thank you for that incisive and really clearly gut-busting call. Should I stretch the friendship a bit more and actually ask for a little bit of facts and who actually, I don't know, wins? Or sorry, in the Fooey lingo, who scores more points and gives up less points?
Well, the Panthers didn't do too badly last week against Mahomes for a short time. So Look, they'll fall again because they want a high draft pick. So, but the Bucks will win by a couple of touchdowns.
Brash, my weekly question about the Panthers: does Cam McCarthy improve their running game, and how many picks should they be giving to the Dockers for Cam?
Where is Cam McCarthy these days?
Not playing football.
That's because he's in the NFL.
That's right.
Blackie, Tua versus Herbert. Highlight game of the week for you as the rookie prognosticator?
Oh, absolutely. But I think Miami will win. But Herbert will probably have the more gaudy stat line.
So Herbert's just gaudy, is what you're saying?
No, I think the team doesn't know how to win.
Is that the coach?
Undecided at this stage. He's pretty good at putting him in a decent position. Could be the defensive coordinator.
How does it defend with Aaron Donald and a number of other decent defensive players? I mean, let's face it, the Chargers, for what seems like the multiple, at least 8 of the last 10 years, they've got a bloody good defense. This is the first time in that 10-year period that their defense just evaporate. It's like it just disappeared.
Yeah, I think that probably is because Aaron Donald plays for the other LA team.
Oh, I know you were going to pick me up. Should I talk about Eckler again?
Yeah, I know. That's why the Chargers have been losing. Where the hell is our all-pro defensive tackle to help us? That's right. He's in a bye week this week.
I'm trying to come up with reasons, and it's the only reason I could come up with.
All week we've been scheming for Aaron Donald to get the double team and then do a
Why else
stunt.
is there?
Except the only problem is Aaron Donald plays in blue and yellow across the other side of LA.
But the Chargers are blue. The Chargers are blue and yellow too. You know.
No, technically the other sideline.
Well, they're technically blue and yellow too. But this is my whole point. It's like seriously. I know you think I'm being stupid and making a mistake, but that's what the Chargers' defensive mindset is. It's as if they think that Aaron Donald is part of their defense.
Well,
he's not here on the field, so we just go to water. No, seriously, it's as if for the first time in years that Chargers defense is looking for your magic player, and he's a player from another team. Like, okay, pretend I never talked about Aaron Donald. Pick JJ Watt. Pick Fletcher Cox. It's like they take the field, but they're referring to a talisman player that's on another team, and when he's suddenly not there,
he's actually. I know you actually make a really good point, and I look at teams like Denver when they went to the Super Bowls. I look at for all the talk that Manning got right as being the centerpiece. I look at Seattle. I look at even the 49ers. I look at even the Chiefs last year. You still need a closer on defense.
Yeah.
You need that guy that sacked the quarterback at the right time on the last drive. And
it's not just about, like, they might miss that sack. There are games when it doesn't come off, but the rest of the defensive unit believes in that guy and they follow his leadership. And I feel like the Chargers are taking the field this year looking for Aaron Donald, but the penny hasn't fucking dropped that he's on the other team.
But I think it might be a case of no one expected the Chargers to be this competitive under
quarterback. Yep,
Herbert,
agree
right?
with that.
They were a bit of a hot mess at the start of the year, and it almost felt like Herbert was an afterthought. No one even talked about him on draft day, right? So now he's in there. He's putting in his team in very close positions to win, but they just went into the season this year. They can't have lightning strike twice and all of a sudden find the Aaron Donald, if you like. It's why I think teams who are managing to win, who are going to come up short, Seattle, Packers, because they don't have that closer on defense. And it matters. The guy that makes the play. Why the Patriots were so successful? Because they had closers. They had any one of their defensive players could have been a closer at the right time. One of them always stood up at the right time. Who knew who the hell Butler was before that intercept on the goal line?
And then he gets benched, doesn't he?
Yeah,
the
following
next Super Bowl.
Yeah.
But I mean, the flip side for me, and I made the joke about Aaron Donald, and obviously didn't go over very well. That was my attempt to exploit my screw up with Eckler last episode. But the bit that put it in context when I was looking at this game, and we've talked more about it than we probably should have, but Blackie and especially Fui both talked about how good the Dolphins defense was last week. That's the thing that stands out. Yes, they've got a young quarterback in Tua. Yes, they're not a perfect team. You know, they're working their way up. But the Dolphins defense believes. They have leaders. And every time they take the field, even when they give up a touchdown, you don't see this finger pointing and arguing and bitching amongst themselves. Cardinals, they'd take accountability. And that's the thing for me. If I had to put the two teams on bits of paper, Tua and Herbert, Flores and Anthony Lynn, reasonably young wide receivers, reasonably young wide receivers, reasonably solid defensive players, reasonably solid, so on and so forth. But the difference is the self-belief that the defense has. The Chargers couldn't hold back water on defense. When the pressure's on, they just evaporate. They're like the Atlanta Falcons of Los Angeles. Anyway, my rant is over.
I won't be surprised.
Dolphins are
I
gonna-
won't be surprised if Chargers won this game because it's another West Coast game, and the Dolphins are not normally that good on the West Coast. They've won here. They've won there already once this year. I can't see them winning twice. I won't be surprised at all if the Chargers won this.
I thought it was in Miami, but I could be wrong.
It's 8:05 game. It's an 8 o'clock game, so that would make it a West Coast game, wouldn't it? Maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah. No, it is in Miami.
Oh, it is okay. It just happens to be a late game. All right.
Yep.
Take that back.
Brash. Philly just out researched.
Yeah. Well, he is a
So
student. of the game.
Blackie, are your mob going to beat John Gruden?
Yeah,
Yeah.
no doubt. Lindsay, 100 yards. Judy, 100 yards. Chubb, 2 sacks. Away you go.
That's Bradley, not Nick. Yeah.
I'm pretty sure we could scheme Nick a couple of sacks too if he wants to swap teams.
All right. Showdown game of the week for me. Even better than Tua versus Justin, as in Justin Herbert against Tua Tagovailoa, who just quietly has a younger brother that looks like the real deal too. Josh Allen, Kyler Murray. Brash, you're a guru on Kyler Murray and the Cardinals. Josh Allen cut him apart again. Does he have another first half where he throws for 3 TDs and 300 yards and lights them up? And Blackie, when Brash is finished, Blackie, what I want to hear from you is, does Simmons of the Cardinals actually get a tackle or a touch, or does he spend all but 4 plays on the sidelines?
Mate, if the Bills win this, and they'll have to play a very depleted 49ers, who would have thought anyone would have swept the NFC West? That's what the Bills have at stake here, because they'll roll over the 49ers. They're finished. But if they win this game, they are basically the kingmaster or the kingmaker in the NFC West. They would have swept the field. No, who would have thought that?
So what you're saying is they're really like the Rams in the NFC East.
Yes, of very much the same caliber. Yeah, very much. Yeah, strength of schedule doesn't come in. I think the Bills might have a bit of a letdown on this one. The Cardinals are back at home. They're a bit of a jack in the box there. Murray genuinely surprised me last week by actually being a pocket passer, even though he's still managing to run for 100 yards. So, geez, Allen looked good. That guy looks good. I just love watching him play, just to see the velocity on they throw, him throwing the ball. This is a
The
coin
ball doesn't
toss.
get a lot of elevation, does it?
No,
Like, he
they
throws it
are
flat.
they are ropes. They are frozen ropes. What he throws. I'm going to take the Cardinals only without any confidence, only because it's at home.
Fui, Russell Wilson or Jared Goff?
It's a bit of a no-brainer, isn't it? The Rams haven't beaten anyone this year. I know it is in LA, but Wilson's an MVP candidate for a reason, and he won't have a second bad game in a row.
Oh, I think you're missing the point. It's like you didn't listen to anything I said in the review of the week's games. It's not about Wilson. Will Goff get 450 yards? Sorry, 448 yards against that Seahawks defense, which is the average that they have given up in every single game this year. 448 yards.
Quite possibly, but Wilson will overcome.
Blackie, Drew Brees obviously beats the shit out of Nick Mullins. Should Brash just kind of like avoid the weekend and go to bye week, or what?
Yeah, he should just watch the Masters this weekend instead.
That's absolutely what will be going on at 8. That's absolutely what will be happening. Hopefully watching Jason Day putt on the 18th for a win around about 11 o'clock. So I don't get to watch any of it. But just on that previous game, I think the Rams actually match up very well against the Seahawks.
Yep.
Because the Rams have a better than average set of defensive backs, and this is the LA team that Aaron Donald plays for. So they'll be able to and they've got a decent front. I won't call it front 7. They've got a good front 4.
Yes.
Seattle's offense does not go through where the Rams are weakest, which is linebacker. They don't run it. I don't know if Hyde's back, but or Dallas.
Carson's their number one.
Yeah, but is he playing this week?
I'm not sure yet.
Yeah, or they stuck with Dallas again. So they've got decent defensive backs that can cover man to man, and they will put pressure on Wilson up front, so he won't get the time to throw those moon balls. So I'm tempted to change my tip. I did take the Seahawks, so the more I think about it,
this is Rams. This is Rams all the way. I mean, two things, and this was kind of what I was trying to get at when I made the joke before about Donald on the Chargers. That Ram defense, and they've got all kinds of problems with Goff, as Gigi constantly talks about on the board. They got all kinds of offensive problems apart from Cooper Kupp. They don't necessarily have a lot of talent, but their defense, if you watch their games, their defense is consistently focused. They have really good spirit. They don't drop even when they give up bad plays. They don't go pointing fingers at each other. They don't drop their shit. They don't choke out. Can you imagine a game where you deliberately have a game strategy, which the Seahawks do, of letting Aaron Donald be on the field twice as much as he's on the field for any other game?
Yeah, of course, the other side of this argument is I reckon the Seahawks could set a record for a number of blitzes in a game.
Oh, God, yeah.
Right? I think this could be a blitz.
Agree, yeah.
Right? And it all depends on how Jared Goff, who needs remediation tapes from his coach before he runs out on every play, so he knows where to throw the ball, how he handles that
pressure.
Do you
think they can keep it up in the fourth quarter? Do you think the Seahawks can be as aggressive with all that extra time they're on the field?
If they're just rolling through because blitzing is less pressure on less workload on the defensive end on the defensive line than in a normal defensive scheme, because all they have to do is hold their gaps and let the blitzer do the blitzing. They don't have to go after the quarterback, which is less physical exertion on them. So I'm expecting the Seahawks to absolutely go berserk blitzing Goff, because Goff does not handle unpredictable defenses very well.
No, and let's face it.
So I'm starting to change my tip back to the Seahawks.
And I'm expecting apologies from both of you first thing next week.
Why?
Because I am right.
Why? Right about
in,
what?
in my pick,
You're right.
That Seattle will win this game and Wilson will win this game. It's a feeling, okay?
I'm tempted to change. I haven't had to make my tips yet. So
You've changed it four times in 10 seconds.
I know. I keep thinking about it because I haven't done my tips yet. I haven't done my analysis yet. But all I just said the last 5 minutes was just so we diverted away from not talking about the Saints 49ers game anyway.
I got that message loud and clear. So let's talk about American Crow's favorite game of the week, the Baltimore Ravens against the New England Patriots. In all seriousness, Cam Newton versus Lamar Jackson. If you had Cam Newton from 3 years ago playing against Lamar Jackson from this year, who would be the stronger running quarterback?
Lamar.
You sure?
I think maybe Cam of 5 years ago.
Yeah, okay. All right.
Potentially.
Which year you pick? Because if it's me, I reckon Lamar's dropped away this year. I don't think he's anywhere near as effective as a running quarterback as he was last year or the year before. Maybe that's just my biases. I don't know.
I don't think he's close to last year.
I think losing Marshall Yanda has hurt them, and now losing Ronnie Stanley. Those are two all-pro, all-world caliber linemen.
Yep. Irreplaceable. You can't go out, like even if it was the off-season, you couldn't go out and sign a free agent that was half the caliber of either of those guys,
Yeah, it's a bit like the 49ers when when Williams goes on to
it's all about the bloody 49ers.
It always is, mate. When Williams goes on the COVID list, and we'll just replace him with Justin Skull in the 6th round.
Getting back to what Blackie thinks about the Ravens. Cam Newton.
I'm still trying to work out about this paperweight. Who's the paperweight?
Have a look under your desk. There's a glowing green thing that has Jets written.
I'm going to Google it.
We have to. Anyway, I won't worry about that. Blackie, what's in terms of the balance between the Lamar running quarterback and the Cam Newton running quarterback? What's the difference for this game? Is it more that Lamar relies on his defense to score 3 more defensive touchdowns, like they have done pretty much all year, and keep the scoring going from the defensive side of the ball, or do we see a real showdown between two kind of not fully effective but still trying hard running quarterbacks that don't have a lot of other offensive weapons weapons.
I mean, I think back to what Bill did to contain Mahomes for the best part of 3 quarters before he finally got on top. You know, I think he's more than capable of scheming a defense to stop Lamar. It will be,
especially
which
because
Cam
Lamar
Newton
doesn't
rocks up.
have that Edwards Elaire or
Yeah.
you know, even a Mecole Hardman. You could argue that if Mecole Hardman was on the Patriots roster or the Ravens roster, he'd be the top wide receiver potentially on both teams. Yeah.
I think Marquise Brown's actually super talented, to be honest. But he's probably not the best scheme fit for Lamar because he's such a small target. You know, Lamar's probably better off with a big framed guy, which is probably why he looks at Mark Andrews, even Boyle, who's not a very good receiver at all.
But he's big and he's easy to spot. Yeah, I get what
Yeah.
you mean. Same sort of thing like a Kenny Golladay or a you know.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And Mike Williams would probably be nirvana for him. They should probably go out and chase him.
Not a bad point, actually. Yeah.
I think they exercise a 5th-year option for him next year, but maybe knock on his door. So early next year, yeah, I'd be looking at doing that.
So does Patriots rock out a wheelchair for Edelman? Or do they really still have an offensive strategy at all? Or is this really basically just officially a tank that hope they can get a Lawrence or a Field?
I think it's absolutely a tank. And I think it's...
So why the fuck did they beat the Jets if it's absolutely a tank?
Because
Come on.
I think you can only do so much against one of the great defensive minds in the league in Gase. You know, Gase will every time will hold the Jets to offense to barely anything. It was just an old-fashioned tag-off. But as I said earlier, Cam, it is the business transaction for Cam. He's going to leave it all out in the field. I think if the Patriots were in playoff contention, Bill would come out with a really good scheme for the Ravens and would make life really hard for them and then just rely on Cam to try and score 20 points and beat them. But I don't think that's going to happen. I think they're probably aware that there are a few good quarterbacks in the upcoming draft, and they're going to get about 6 starters back next year, rolling off the COVID exempt list. It's probably the perfect scenario for them. They've used this year to wash through their cap. They've got some really, really good players sitting the year out because of COVID, so it's easier to tank. And there's it's one of the best quarterback classes, provided everyone declares, one of the best quarterback classes in living memory.
It's like the wide receiver class was this year. I mean, potentially it's historically elite if, as you say, if everybody declares and doesn't get COVID after they've declared. Wrapping it up, Philly, we're going to throw to you because it's your conference and it's not about the Packers. The Vikings versus the Bears. Do we see Kirk Cousins get upstaged by the only other overpaid quarterback in the league in Nick Foles? Or is this the Trubisky re-emergence? How many different episodes were there of Star Wars? Was it like 8 chapters?
9.
Is this Kirk Cousins chapter
9.
7?
No.
Hang on, what about Cobra Kai season 5?
Season 2 hasn't started yet.
No, you'd be crazy if you're the Vikings to be doing anything other than running Cook at the moment. But I think I'd be worrying about his injury history and possibly running him a bit too much, and maybe just giving Madison a few more carries just to lessen the load a little bit. But by all means, use Cook to soften him up. I think the Vikings are going to win again.
All right, Brash, Blackie, let us in on your secret. We wrap this episode up. How is it the Giblets have been this good? What's your fantasy football secret?
It's having
apart
2 excellent GMs.
Well, I was going to say, apart from being in a league where someone drafts Jimmy G with 3rd pick.
That definitely helped.
When you got that actually helped a little bit, but when you've got fantasy football's equivalent of the 2 Bills working together, what do you expect's going to happen? There's Parcells and Belichick all over again.
More like the 2 Ronnies.
Keep up the fresh references.
Yeah, I think.
Are you even old enough to know that?
I think we're going to struggle this week, though.
We're favoured to win. Don't worry about that.
You can always trust those ESPN projections so much.
That's right.
No. I'm just worried about the fact that we even struggle. We had to go to the waiver wire just to fill a roster this week.
Can we talk about Southern Takeover's score?
What did he end up on?
I think it was 9.
Oh, you didn't get any more.
I think so.
Good job.
That's
good
what
job.
happens when you pick players from the best team in football in the 8th best division in football.
Yeah, but he did call it during the draft. Steve.
No, he does it every year.
It's the 3rd year in a row that he's drafted only Eagles players, basically. Yes.
So who you going
And-
to start a quarterback tweak, BPG?
Probably, well, in Empire, I'll start Wentz or Tua. I haven't decided. Seriously, good question for the panel. In Empire, I have Tua as a rookie, and I have Wentz. Mahomes is on his bye week this week, so I obviously can't start him. What's a safer bet? Going for Wentz and hoping for the non-negative score, or going for Tua and accepting a score of less than 15?
I'd be just trotting Wentz out.
Who's Wentz playing?
Not the bye. I'll give you that. Not the bye.
It's somewhere pretty average, isn't it?
Danny Dimes and the New York
Oh,
football
that's
team.
right.
No, their defense
Yeah.
is okay. They've been playing tough on defense.
I
I'd be
think
playing
that-
Tua.
Exactly. That's exactly. It scares me that me and Phil are thinking the same way. I think I was going to say it, but we kind of skimmed over that. We didn't get much reaction in my attempt to provoke comments. But I think Wentz is going to get lit up yet again. That Giants defense is bloody good.
Mate, you've been predicting it every week since week 2.
He was supposed to be out in week 3, wasn't
Yeah, 6 quarters, remember?
he?
All right. Mock me.
That was your homage to GG, yeah?
Yes, absolutely. And on that happy note about my homages to GG, was there anything else from the week that you wanted to talk about, Brash?
No, like
Surely,
I said, mate.
surely you must have more insights into who the alternative is when Nick Mullins goes down injured.
Oh, yeah, CJ Beathard, Bethard.
What about after him? Who's your 3rd stringer?
We got we signed Johnson to the practice squad. He's about. I didn't think he was still in the league. In fact, he wasn't. So I don't know. I can't believe this. I can't believe I'm scouting quarterback. But anyway,
It's a humbling experience, Brasher. It will make you better. It's like
Oh,
wearing
well,
a face mask.
but in fairness, it's not like I haven't had to do this for the last 15 years. I've had little glimmers of hope, and then straight back to the draft board.
Blackie, break out those violins, mate, because, you know.
I'd on notice, and don't have to answer now, Blackie. I'd be very those top handful of quarterbacks which one you reckon best fits there to go, but not now.
I
don't
think-
just now.
I think there'll be another Justin Herbert that's not rated at all. That's not, I mean, all the hype you think about this year, all the bloody hype was around Tua, and
The guy that intrigues
Burrows?
me is Trask. The guy that intrigues
Yes.
me is Trask.
yes,
But I'm
yes.
too worried about. But I'm too for the 49ers, right? Remember what I said last week, Blackie, about Shanahan will never allow his quarterback to outshine him. So they got to be at best on a par, right? The only thing that worries me about Trask is if I buy his jersey, how easy it will be to turn it to trash.
So good.
And on that happy note, while we look for how to turn a K into an H and have extra lettering left over, we might wrap it up for the week. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks.
Cheers, gents.